If you believe that true respect is the foundation of love, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Let me tell you how I walked away to win my life back. And left her standing alone at the airport. The rented venue in downtown Seattle was loud and crowded. Crystal chandeliers reflecting off the floor-to-ceiling windows. My wife Sarah looked absolutely stunning in her navy blue dress, standing right next to her childhood best friend Liam. They were laughing together with that effortless chemistry they always had. Liam was holding our 1-year-old son Leo in his arms. He looked around the room and smirked. "This kid looks exactly like me," he joked. "Maybe we should just give him my last name." The entire room went dead silent. Every friend and family member turned to look at me, waiting for the jealous husband to finally snap. Outside the rain was pouring against the Seattle skyline. But inside my chest there was absolutely nothing. No anger, no jealousy, just a quiet crushing clarity. I put down my glass of iced water, looked right into Liam's eyes and smiled. "Since you guys have such a deep connection," I said, "you can take over his parent-teacher conferences from now on." The color instantly drained from Sarah's face. Her beautiful smile shattered into pure panic. The festive energy in the room evaporated into thin air. She let out a nervous and awkward laugh. "Ethan is just tired from working late," she stammered. "I'm going to have someone take him home to rest." Liam tried to play it off with a forced chuckle. "Come on man, it was just a joke, lighten up." I didn't take their bait or give them an easy way out. I just grabbed my dark trench coat and stood up. "I'm glad you two always find so much to talk about," I said softly. "You'll have plenty of time to discuss it from now on." I didn't give them another glance as I walked out the heavy oak doors. I could hear Sarah calling my name, her voice cracking, her heels clicking desperately against the hardwood floor. But I didn't stop and I didn't look back. For years this was our toxic cycle. Whenever I tried to set a boundary with her male best friend, Sarah would freeze me out with the silent treatment. Until I was so exhausted I would apologize just to keep the peace. She would call me insecure and tell me I was overthinking. But tonight those old wounds didn't hurt anymore. I pushed open the lobby doors and stepped into the freezing rain. The wind howled, but I felt like I could finally breathe. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was an email from my architectural firm's senior partner. "The relocation offer for the Paris project is still on the table, Ethan. 5 years as a lead architect and a fast track to partner." I used to turn down every promotion and every business trip, just to make sure I was home to cook dinner for Sarah. I thought my endless sacrifices would eventually make her love me. I thought I could outlove the ghost of her childhood bestie. But seeing them together tonight completely woke me up. Standing there in the freezing rain, I typed my reply with shaking but determined fingers. "I will take the Paris offer, I am ready." Hitting send was the most liberating moment of my life. I went back to our quiet suburban house. It was 2 a.m. when the digital lock beeped. Sarah stumbled in, smelling of expensive wine, supported by one of her college girlfriends. The friend looked at me with pity. "Ethan, don't be mad, she's just upset about tonight. Her and Liam are completely platonic, you really embarrassed her." I kept a safe distance, standing by the kitchen island. I just nodded politely and thanked her for bringing Sarah home. When the door closed, it was just the two of us. Sarah leaned back on the couch, expecting me to play my usual role. Expecting me to bring her a glass of warm water and take off her shoes. She rubbed her temples and closed her eyes. "Ethan, get me some water, my head is killing me," she demanded. I looked at the woman I had built my whole life around. I didn't walk to the kitchen and I didn't pour the water. I turned around and walked into my study, locking the door behind me. I put on my headphones and started my intensive French audio lessons. I heard something shatter against the living room wall. But I didn't even take my headphones off. When a man decides to pull himself out of the mud, he stops caring about the splashes behind him. The next morning Sarah sat at the kitchen island, looking exhausted and waiting for her usual breakfast. That was her classic move to test my boundaries. If I made her favorite avocado toast, it meant I was surrendering. Instead, I walked right past her in a crisp tailored suit. "I'm grabbing coffee on the way to the office," I said calmly. She stood up and blocked my way, her eyes flashing with anger. "Ethan, how long are you going to punish me?" she snapped. "Liam wanted to drive me home last night, but I said no because of you. I suffered through a migraine all night and you don't even care." I looked at her, playing the victim so effortlessly. "You don't have to reject rides on my account anymore," I said. "You are free to let whoever you want take you home." I walked out the door and left her standing there speechless. For the next few weeks I practically lived at the firm. My whiteboard was covered in French vocabulary and blueprints. I poured all that wasted emotional energy into myself. When I finally started speaking fluent French on conference calls, my boss looked at me like I was a completely new man. Then one rainy evening Sarah parked outside my office building. She was wearing a beige trench coat standing by my car. "Ethan, we need to sit down and have a real dinner," she pleaded. "I booked a table at that cozy diner you used to love." I didn't argue, I just got in the car. We sat in the neon glow of the diner booth. She ordered all my favorite comfort foods, trying to be sweet. But right as I picked up my fork, her phone lit up. It was Liam calling. She panicked and tried to flip the phone face down. But it kept buzzing, vibrating loudly against the wooden table. I looked at her calmly and said, "You should answer, it might be important." She hesitated but finally swiped accept. Liam's frantic voice came through the speaker. "Sarah, there is a huge crisis at my art gallery. A shipment got ruined and I need you here right now." Sarah looked at me, her face twisted in guilt. "Ethan, I am so sorry, but Liam really needs my help. He doesn't have anyone else in this city." I put down my fork and wiped my mouth with a napkin. "Go ahead," I said softly, "his work emergency is more important." She looked relieved, grabbed her coat and rushed out into the rain. I sat there alone, ate my meal and paid the bill. I didn't feel the crushing jealousy I used to feel. I just felt a profound, peaceful sense of closure. The day my French work visa was finally approved happened to be Sarah's 30th birthday. I took the afternoon off and set up a beautiful dinner at home. When she walked in and saw the cake and the lights, she broke down in tears, looking like a guilty child. "Ethan, I thought you forgot," she cried. "I'm so sorry for everything. I promise I will change. I will focus entirely on you and our son from now on." I smiled gently and pushed a slice of cake toward her. "Eat something sweet," I said, "it's your special day." The dinner was peaceful, almost like a perfect illusion. Until the doorbell suddenly rang. Sarah opened it and there stood Liam holding a massive bouquet of roses. "Happy birthday, Sarah. I cancelled all my plans to surprise you," he grinned. But his smile vanished when he saw me sitting at the dining table. "Oh hey Ethan," he laughed nervously, "didn't think you'd be home." The air in the room went completely still. I took a slow sip of my water, watching the drama unfold. I didn't yell, I didn't defend my territory. My absolute silence was the heaviest weapon in the room. Sarah looked at me in pure terror, terrified I'd slip away again. She turned to Liam and shoved him hard onto the front porch. "What are you doing here, Liam? Get out of my house," she screamed. "You crossed the line, we are just friends, leave us alone." She slammed the heavy door in his face and locked it. She leaned against the door, sobbing and begging me. Ethan, I swear I didn't know he was coming, she cried. I cut all business ties with him, I will never see him again. Please let's just go back to how we used to be. If this was 3 years ago I would have hugged her and cried too. But time is a ruthless knife and the bridge was already burned. I stood up, picked up a manila envelope from the counter, and handed it to her. I believe you didn't invite him, I said gently. And I believe you want to fix our family right now. But some things shatter and can never be glued back together. You don't have to walk on eggshells around me anymore. Because I simply don't need you to. She opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside were signed divorce papers and a one-way ticket to Paris. Her knees gave out and she collapsed onto the hardwood floor. You're not just mad at me, she whispered through her tears. You're actually leaving me. Please Ethan, don't do this. I can't wait 5 years, take me with you. I looked down at her and smiled a sad, peaceful smile. No Sarah, I said, you need to stay here and be your authentic self. And I need to go to Paris and find the man I used to be. The next morning I walked through the TSA checkpoint at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. Suddenly I heard desperate footsteps behind the glass barrier. Ethan, wait, please stop. It was Sarah wearing sweatpants, her hair a complete mess. She clung to the metal railing, crying hysterically in front of everyone. I won't sign the papers, we aren't over, you can't just leave me. I stood 5 meters away looking at the girl I once gave my life for. Take good care of our boy and take care of yourself, I said calmly. Even if you don't sign, the law will handle it in 2 years. I hope we both learn how to truly love someone in the years apart. I turned around and walked down the long bright corridor. The morning sun was pouring through the massive airport windows, warming my shoulders for the first time in years. My new life was just beginning.